What's happening, everybody, man? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new video, and I hope you guys enjoyed that that dyno session video that I put out. The last video I put out, man. I think it was some interesting stuff, you know, to kind of include in there. Though, you know, dyno sessions, they're not as exciting as you think they are. They're pretty, I mean, it's a whole lot of let's do this. You got to wait for a little while, and then you got to run this, then you got to do drivability and all that stuff. But I tried to keep it as juicy as I could, you know what I mean? But I just kind of wanted to document that whole experience so you guys can kind of see that. Now, I also said in that last video that we're going to itemize everything as far as, you know, total cost and why things cost the way that they did, and some of the issues that was found and we had to take care of and all of that stuff. Also had a comment from Sean Princeton. I hope I said your name right, man. Sean Princeton. He wanted me to tell him about the parts that I use on the Ghost to get us to the power level that we are at now, thanks to E85. So we're gonna talk about that, everything that takes place, kind of the whole process, so you guys can kind of see the roller coaster ride of emotions that you go through whenever you are getting your car tuned and all of that stuff. So, oh, check out the drip. Look at that. Yeah, man. So yeah, I got me a shirt while I was there, man. Like I said, that whole experience there, man. Though it was stressful to a degree, because it's just you're thinking, okay, is this, you know, is anything gonna go wrong? Is everything gonna go right? It's just like the same kind of stress that you have whenever you are on a dyno, because you know anything can happen on a dyno, and you know the car and the motor just has to hold up. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, man, everything was cool. They kind of, you know, the way that they let me know what was going on, kept me in the loop of everything that was going on, man. It was reassuring to know that the car was in good hands. So it wasn't a terrible experience, man. If I'm being honest, man, it was a really good experience, man. It was cool, and you know it was a vibe, man. You know what I'm saying? But I'm kind of babbling on. I got a lot to go over in this video, man. So I'm gonna try and keep it. I'm trying to keep it as short as I can, but it might get a little long. So please hang in there with me, man. A lot of good information. Let's get started. All right. So here we are at the first thing that I want to talk about. So one of the first things I want to talk about on here is this. So we're not shining right here no more because we had to go back to the stock radiator. Now, as like I told you guys before, it made me have to modify quite a few things and to make it work with the setup, and that being the oil cooler. Remember, I told you guys if it wasn't for me, if it wasn't for the oil cooler and the radiator here, I wouldn't have to change it. But I'm kind of glad I did change it to this reservoir that's on here, because the other one looked ugly. But we had to go back to the stock radiator. The reason being is because remember a while back I told you about an issue about this my charge pipe on the verticooler, where I had to swap the piping to make it work, but it was still making contact to this thing to the point where it almost rubbed a hole in it. That's my fault. I should have addressed that issue when I did, but then again, I'm glad I did not address the issue, because after talking to Andrew at Cosmic, he was saying that a lot of people who have moved to those, because I had bought a slim Mishimoto radiator fan to fit in there, that would have helped me clear that space. But he said a lot of people have had that he's seen come through there, and they used those. They had issues with the car overheating because those fans don't move as much air as the factory fans do. And it makes sense because they got these big shrouds on here, bigger fan blades. The fan blades on there are way more aggressive, so it pulls more air through. So to try and force that thing to work at that time, everything I was trying to do was trying to make the experience or the actual process as smooth as possible. So I had to I had to take them my stock radiator, and they were able to put that on for me. Could I did it? Yeah, but it just would have been a whole lot of extra back and forth, and they would have prolonged the process. I was just trying to go ahead and get through it. So I wound up having to pay to get that done, to get them to swap this thing over and put it in here. And now I just got mad room right now, boy. It's nice. And it does flow with the engine bay a lot better, if I'm being honest. Now, let's talk about cooling. So now we are in the colder months down here in Houston, so it has been fairly cold recently. So the temps that I have been seeing since driving on this thing it's about the same. If I'm being honest, it's about the same. So they've ran higher numbers than what I got with the stock god dang it, radiator, and have had no issues with it, and it cools fine. So as far as for me, what I've been seeing dang near the same thing, 192, and I see 196 from time to time. But the true test is going to be whenever it starts getting hot again. I'll talk about that at that time. That way, then we can we'll get a real good number as to how efficient this thing is running. Plus, there are some additives that I can add in there as well. So that's pretty much all there is with the radiator and that portion of it. So that was one of the issues that was found during the pre-inspection. So let's go on to the next thing. All right, so the next thing, man. So let's talk about they did do they checked for a boost leak. So they did find some leaks on the car. So one of the ones, like I told you guys, when they had to remove the radiator and all of that, or well, they had to move the fan because there was a leak on the charge pipe, because they had to repair that leak, because we did have a pretty bad leak. It could have been because of me having to swap those pipes around, so they was able to put them in there the correct way, because they put the stock fan in and they had plenty of room left. It's plenty of distance between there now, so it's good now. There was also an issue with the vacuum line. There was a vacuum line that needed to get addressed, so they got that done. Oh wait, they had to remove the vacuum lines going to the intake manifold, so there was an issue there as well. And like I told you guys with the coil packs, they didn't want to take, like even me, I didn't want to take the chance of it being another, an additional charge or an issue found and make the process last that much longer if they had to remove those coil packs. So I took them out. If I want to try them out again later on, I can, just to see how they run. But we got those out of there, and those were a couple of the issues that they found. Another issue that they found was there was an issue with the MAF sensor. So the MAF sensor, and that's for anything whenever you do go in there. And me, I didn't even think about that, because hell, I just thought about the most basic things. Like I said, this was an educational thing for me to be able to learn the process and what went on. So cleaning the MAF sensor is a good idea before you go to a tune. That way, then it's already clean. That's another charge you wouldn't have to have. But we're learning right now, so I'm not mad about it, because I want everything to be perfect. And the fact that the technician that was looking at the car, he was so meticulous with everything. Like I said, they used that word meticulous with me, and I was like, whoo, I like him already. Because that means you kind of fine-tooth comb every issue to make sure that whenever you do get on the dyno and you do start tuning, it's a smooth process. There's less chance of you having any issues of something failing on the car, on the dyno, and being a catastrophic problem. So the fact that they put that much, he put that much, detail in his inspection, I mean, it's good. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. So like I told you guys already, my tuner's name, his name was Andrew. I mean, the dude was very forthcoming with information, man. He told me a lot of stuff, kind of helped me learn a few other things about the car. You know what I'm saying? So like I was saying, another thing Andrew, he gave me an app, pretty cool app, to kind of help me while I'm trying to figure out. It pretty much helps you figure out how much ethanol and how much 93 you need to put in to make sure that you're around the E60 number, because that's pretty much what the car is tuned for. It's tuned for E60. Anything above that is gonna I would have to stay out of boost, and I would have to upgrade the high pressure fuel pump in the engine bay in order to run anything any higher than that. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We ain't there. But there was that. He showed me some cool stuff there, and they also on the access port, they put a little logo on there too, man. So I appreciate that too. That's pretty tight. I need to learn how to do that so I can put my logo on there. I don't know. But there's that. But then we do have the graphs. So I tell you what we'll do. We'll go down. Matter of fact, let me quit babbling. Let's take a look at the graph, the way I can kind of show you guys The first tune I got with them when I was on 93 octane, before I did all the other stuff like the header and all of that, and then we can look we can look at all those numbers and kind of do a comparison on that. But even though on the last video you guys did see the gains and all of that stuff that we got from the E85 tune, but we could take a look at the graph and kind of do a comparison of the two. All right, so hopefully I can get this to come out really good here. So these are pretty much it. This is like the first tune I ever got with them. So that's kind of what the numbers look like before. That's the horsepower, and that's there. And then the new, wait, is that it? No, that was on, that's DynoJet. My bad, y'all. This is DynoJet. He did make me a copy of DynoJet. So this is DynoJet. That's the DynoJet numbers, but we don't care about those. All right, we in this for the Mustang. So my horsepower was 254 and 275 foot-pounds to the for torque. And the max boost was 20.5 PSI, and that was the graph. All right, so now the newer one. That graph, this is what it is right here. So you see those numbers way up there now. But right here, we got, let me see if I can get this thing to focus in like I wanted to right here. But our torque, we got all the way up to 320 foot-pounds of torque. And our horsepower number was on this, I don't know which pull he took this off of, but it's 345. But as you guys saw on the screen, I think it was doing after another pull. Like that was the very last pull that he did, that it recorded before the one that I showed you guys on camera on that last video. But the peak number I got, because the car had been sitting, cooled off, and he ran it and did that third pull, it was 348. But you know, it says 345 on here, but that's kind of what the graph looks like right there. So all in all, man, made some pretty good power. All right, y'all. So as far as for how do I drive the car? So it's already, you know, everything is completely different now. So I really have to relearn the car again. But there are two things I got to keep in mind is this. If I go into a wide open throttle, it's safer to do wide open throttle once I get to 2,500 RPMs. At that point, I can just let her eat all the way up to 6,500 RPM. So that's pretty much where the car, it continued to make power. Looking at that graph all the way through, it's just, you know, at that point, you know, I'm kind of running it at its limit. But one thing he did say is that it feels like you're punishing the car when you go back to 93. So I'm gonna see what's up with that to see how the car feels at 93 at some point. But that's pretty much what he gave me as far as for the rules of engagement for, giving the car the beans, so to speak. So there's that. All right, so now this part of the video is for my boy Sean. He asked me to give a list of the mods that I have on the car, as far as for the tune, and also some suspension stuff, exhaust, just kind of, giving them a layout of some of the stuff I have. So there are more things I have on the car. Mind you, my whole channel has everything that I ever put on the car is on the channel. So if you want to scroll through all that, you can, but I will give you a list of some of those things that I do have on here. So first thing I'm going to do is engine. So engine wise, I have the 3-port boost controller because you need that for the tune. I have the Torque Solutions turbo sump restrictor. I have that in there because you have to take that little peel out of there. I also put an I-wire ground kit on the car as well. So I do have that. I have the Crawford AOS on the car. Also I have the Perrin oil cooler. So I have the Perrin oil cooler on the car, and that's really what I have as far as for engine mods. Now, exhaust. So for exhaust, I have the Perrin Equalit header on the car as well. I have the Cobb catted and resonated J pipe, the Subi Depot Stealth axle back, and I have the private label MFG 3-inch resonated mid pipe on there. My intake, I have the forced the FP 3-inch turbo inlet. I have the Mishimoto cold air intake on there. I also have the Boomba bypass valve, the Process West verticooler. Suspension, Kind of limited on suspension stuff, but I got a few things here. I have the Perrin urethane end links on the car, the Perrin 25mm sway bar, the Perrin front strut bar, and I have the Beat Rush rear strut bar, and I have the Perrin steering dampener and the NBR front brace. Drivetrain, this is what I have. I have the Perrin short shifter adapter. I have the Perrin brass bushing that goes along with that. Also the Boomba shifter stop. Perrin makes one too, but at the time, like say, I was using the Bob method. I was balling on the budget, so I got that instead. Then I have the Group N pitch stop mount. I also have the Group N tranny mount along with the positive shift bushings. I got that as well. That's like a kit. And I have the Perrin drive shaft lockdown, which is one of the more recent things I installed. That, man, I freaking love that thing. Totally changed how the car feel, man. It was like a night and day difference. One of my more favorite installs that I did on the car. And the last thing I have on here is fuel. So as far as for fuel, not very many things. I got the AEM 340ml fuel pump. I also have the Deechworks in-tank fuel regulator in there. And of course, the Cobb Flex fuel kit with the fuel pressure sensor as well. So that's kind of what I got as far as for those parts. I have a lot of other parts in there, but I try to keep it to just to those main few. So having that on the car got me to my number, 350 horsepower. Yeah. But that's what I got. You know, if I mean, like I said, search the channel. I even got playlists for certain things. So there you go. Hopefully that's what you're asking for, Sean. If not, let me know. I'll kind of narrow it down a little bit more for you. And I also appreciate that comment. All right, y'all. So for this portion of the video, I had to sit down. We about to start talking about money. So money. Yeah. So kind of got the breakdown sheet of everything that was charged for on it. So here we go. The pre-dyno inspection, that was $291.92. They all of that, it consisted of them doing, they looked at the they put a camera into the engine, looked at the cylinder walls and everything looked good there. They did compression check, everything checked out there, everything was within spec. I think only one was like off by like maybe two ticks, but it was, I mean, not off, it was the only one that was different than the rest of the three. But that checked out good. So everything, the spark plugs, all of that, because I already swapped those out. They did the scope inspection for the cylinders, all clamps, intake, charge pipe, all of that stuff, checked all of that stuff. And then they also did a smoke test on it. So now I'm gonna come back to some more about the smoke test. The actual flex fuel tune itself, that was $1,464.08. That's it for that, to get the actual tune. Also, they had to do some repairs on some leaks that was found. There were leaks found. So they addressed the leak that was on the charge pipe, and they also had, they fixed that leak, which caused them to have to run 2 smoke tests. So it was 2 smoke tests done on it. You know, you got to do the one that you find the leak, and then once you repair the issue, then you got to verify that it's repaired. They did that. That was $150. The vacuum line, I had a vacuum line underneath the engine cover on the of a line going to the intake manifold. They had to repair that and secure any other lines on there. That cost $75. They did a MAF cleaning on there. So they cleaned the MAF sensor on there. So that service was $37.50. They had to replace the radiator. Now, like I told you guys, the radiator, I was having issues with the radiator, and at that point I had just tried to find different things to modify what I wanted to put it into the car. So like I said, it had been, man, the freaking radiator had been giving me such a hard time. I needed to get rid of it. I just didn't want to drain it and do all of that stuff, but I wound up having to do it anyway. And instead of me doing it myself and could have saved myself some money, I had to pay them to get it, to do it, because it was already there and it was already in the middle of the inspection. So to do all of that, to drain it, take it out, put the new one back in, and then fill it back up and burp it. All of that was $293.84. And there were some other shop fees and stuff like that, which was for supplies, which was $44.03. And all together, outdoor, I paid $2,360 for the to get the whole tune. And this is just all of the issues that was found, and they kind of helped me out with a whole lot of stuff. So that's what that is. You know, I inspected what I could. Most of the stuff, you know, I didn't find the things they had, but then again, I didn't have a smoke tester either, so they had to fix quite a few things. So that's the part of that. Reason why I wanted to share all of this with you guys is because you save your money up to do all of that stuff to get the tune, and yes, you have that to do for the tune, but you also have to take into account if you kind of run into any issues that, you know, before you put the thing on the dyno. So the fact that, you know, you have if you pick a shop like I did that really does a deep dive into what's going on with the car, find everything that they can, so that when it does start, you know, they start beating on it and, you know, and pushing it to make more power, everything holds up in the car engine, everything holds itself together. So, you know, like I said, you get what you pay for, and I'm not mad about it. I mean, it is what it is. You got to pay to play, you know what I'm saying? And I pretty much figure I paid for the peace of mind knowing that the car is going to run good and do what it's supposed to do. I have no issues with it, so it's worth it. I mean, I got a smile on my face when I drive, you know what I'm saying? So I'm good. But that's that portion of that's that portion of the video. So let's move on to the next thing. All right, fam. So let me tell you my short synopsis of pretty much my first impressions of how the car feels. So for one, the car is definitely way more torqueier, dude. I mean, it's like torque comes on. I mean, the takeoff, it's like it really just sits you in the seat when it tries to take off now. So loving that. The power comes on strong, but extremely smooth. Like the characteristics of the car is way different. I guess you could say it lost a little bit of that raw feel and got to more of a smoother feel. So I know I use the word smooth a lot sometimes, but it's just the only thing I can think of to describe the feeling. It refined. The tune is more refined, and just because of the E85, it's freaking like way better. And it also seems I could stay in each gear longer now. So I would shift sooner. So now I feel like I'm shifting too soon. So now I can stay in each gear a tad bit longer now. So again, it just really makes it feel like, and I'm assuming because it's just the way the torque comes on. Which he did say something about the fact that the torque comes on way stronger, and that's why he kind of had to mitigate that to try and, you know, that's what destroyed the motors is what he said. So we have to do that. I also noticed that it takes a little bit longer for the car to warm up. And when I say warm up, it means like the oil temperature. Usually the oil temperature would be a certain way first, but now it seems like it takes a little bit longer for it to get up to temperature. But then again, it could be because it's cold outside too. Plus I got the oil cooler and it's cold outside. So that could be the reason why that is. So the jury's still out on that one. So I'm gonna have to look at that one a little bit more. I'm gonna really be able to tell how the car is cooling and stuff like that whenever it starts getting hot again, which I'm not trying to rush. It's been pretty wet lately. We've been having some pretty bad weather, overcast, and it's just been wet outside. So I haven't really been able to, you know, get on the car like I want to, but I will. It's coming. It's just, you know, I got to get ready because, you know, the next video y'all probably gonna see is gonna be the end of the year joint. So that's kind of my rough synopsis of how the car feels right now. Right now, it's a night and day difference. It just feels way smoother, way better. I mean, the power, I mean, that was the perfect number for me power wise. So there's that. So if you're in the Houston area and you want to get your car dyno tuned, I'm telling you guys, it's not a better place to go to get your car. You know your car is going to be taken care of. You're going to get the real deal of what it is. No bull crap. Man, bring your car over to Coils Motorsports. I'll link their information in the description. a link to their website and all of that. So you should be able to find out, you know, how to get to where they are. I'll put all that information down below so you can reach out to them guys, man. Good group of guys. You got questions, they'll answer them. And you know, most places you go in there, they don't want to ask you. They don't want you to ask nothing. Just shut up, give me your money, and here's your tune. Man, my whole experience with those guys was freaking awesome, man. So big shout out to them, man. Appreciate y'all for giving me the opportunity to record and then just even sharing information with me and talking to me about the whole process, man. I really appreciate that. So appreciate you guys, man. If you made it this far in the video, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, hit all so you get notified whenever I put out a video. And until that next video, fam, peace.